Hari Om. Welcome to Vedic Wellness. From this Wednesday forward, something changes on this channel. Every Wednesday, without exception, is now Women's Health Day on Vedic Wellness. Not women's content, not lifestyle tips, women's health. Evidence-backed, tradition-informed. Delivered with the same no-filter honesty you expect from everything that carries the Vedic wellness name. And we are launching the most important series this channel has ever produced. The series is called Rutu Chakra, the ancient science of womanhood. 6 episodes, 6 Wednesdays, one guest, Dr. Ranjani Deshpande. MS in Ayurveda, one of the very few clinicians in India who has published peer-reviewed research on the Ayurvedic understanding of the female reproductive cycle and applied it in the practice for over 2 decades. Here's what we are going to cover, and I want you to hear this list because by the end of it, you will understand why the series exists. Episode number 1, what is Rutu Chakra and why did your grandmother's generation not have PCOS at the rate yours does? Episode 2, Rajaswala Dharma Decoded. Every restriction, every practice, every don't do this explained with the science that was erased from our textbooks. Episode 3, direct line between abandoning these practices and the infertility epidemic. Episode 4, age-specific protocols for the 14-year-old, the 34-year-old and the 52-year-old. Episode number 5, your questions, Dr. Ranjani's answers, a full audience Q&A. Episode 6, real women, real outcomes, case studies from a clinical experience. 6 Wednesdays, one series, and by the end of it, you will understand your body's monthly intelligence better than most women on this planet. Open any health report on Indian women today and the numbers punch you in the face. 1 in 5 young Indian women, your daughters, your sisters, your colleagues, now has polycystic ovary syndrome. The Indian women's reproductive health market is projected to hit 40,000 crores by 2034. 40,000 crores to manage conditions your grandmother's generation barely knew existed. What changed? Did our biology mutate in 2 generations? Did evolution suddenly forget how to build a female reproductive system? Or did we lose something so fundamental that its absence is now showing up in blood reports, fertility clinics and pharmacy bills across the country? Today we begin a journey into the most misunderstood, most weaponized and ironically most scientifically sophisticated body of knowledge about women's health ever documented. It's called Rutu Chakra, the ancient science of female cycle. And my guest, Dr. Ranjani Deshpande, MS in Ayurveda, is one of the very few people in India who has studied it, published peer-reviewed research on it, and applied it clinically for over 2 decades. Dr. Ranjani, welcome to today's series and the first episode.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. I'm overwhelmed for being on your show today.
Thank you so much. In fact, this is the much awaited program, and I'm sure you have done a lot of research on this, and we are waiting to know in detail about this most important but often neglected aspect of women's health. My first question to you is, what exactly is Rutu Chakra according to Ayurveda?
Okay. So as you said, it is really the most, untalked subject or topic in women's health. The concept of there is a enormous link and connection between the menstruation and a woman's health is not talked to upon so much on these days. So according to Ayurveda, what Rutu Chakra is it is that cyclical phase in every woman's life that marks the sole basis of her entire health period in the later on stages. So this Rutu Chakra means 3 phases that actually combines to or accumulates or it totals up to 28 days or a month, what we call as the menstrual cycle. So the menstrual cycle is called as Rutu Chakra in Ayurveda.
Oh, okay.
Yes. The importance in naming it as Rutu Chakra is because it is something that happens cyclically every month. So it is chakra, is it's very symbolic that it's something that happens continuously as a wheel, and there is connection between one aspect of the phase to the other aspect of the menstrual cycle as a whole.
Okay.
And why is it called Rutu? Because just like how the seasons outside, the climatic changes outside, just like the mother nature, the correspondent to that of mother nature is the woman body. So there is a sync between how the nature functions outside and how the woman function from her inside to outside, how the connection is. So that is why that two beautiful words, Rutu and Chakra, for menstruation.
That's very overwhelming, because I get very emotional when you say the mother nature
Yes.
and the real mother, your
Yes,
mother,
yes.
both are same, because
Yes.
they also go through the cycles of summer and winter and
Yes.
all that things. And similarly, the mother goes through so many changes.
Yes, when we deep dive, we can actually draw parallels between the phases of menstrual cycle and the actual seasons outside. So the Rutu outside, like Grishma Rutu, the Varsha Rutu, Hemanta Rutu, what we call, in the different Rutus, the phases, 6 seasons or the Shad Rutus, the same changes also happens internally. So Ayurveda, the main foundation is Yatha Brahmanda Tata Pindanda. That is how the universe functions, this human body functions. It's even more special in a woman's body, because just like how the mother nature functions outside, a woman is prone to operate from inside. So close parallels can actually be drawn between these two.
Beautiful, doctor. In fact, that is a very good start, because I do not have my mother. My mother passed away long back.
Okay.
So whenever we say mother nature or mother, I get very emotional, and this is also the reason for the particularly for women's health, since we are into Vedic wellness.
Okay.
The wellness of the women is very important
Yes.
today for the entire generations to come.
Yes.
So my next question is: normally we understand that whenever we talk about the cycles for women,
Yes.
it's all about hormonal cycle. So
Yes.
the way we understand modern science today, because we study biology, and 8th standard, 9th standard biology textbooks gives about reproductive systems, how it works and all.
Yes.
And nowadays in the schools and colleges, there's been a lot of effort from the management team of these education institutions. They try to kind of make these young girls understand what they're going through. There is counseling and a lot of things that are happening.
Yes.
So we basically understand this as a hormonal change, the endocrinology, the modern endocrinology.
Yes.
But how does it translate in Ayurveda?
Okay, so just to elaborate the previous question and to bridge that to the second question right now. So in Rutu Kala, we have 3 phases, as I said. So first is the Rajaswala Kala, that is the actual days of menstruation when the blood is shedding out of the uterus. So that is, it ranges from 1 to 5 days. Okay, in some women, very rarely 6 to 7 days, but usually halts by 5 days. And then we have the Rutu Kala, which is the fertile period, where the entire uterus, the endometrial lining, all of it is inconducive for conception. Okay, that's the nature why the woman's body is designed to attain or to modulate the entire process of reproduction. So this is called as the Rutu Kala. Okay, so whereas it is a fertile period or the ovulatory phase in a woman's menstrual cycle can be mapped to the Rutu Kala. And then comes the Rutu Vyatita Kala, that is post the ovulation phase. What we have, the secretory phase in modern, what we study, wherein the body is making arrangements. So in case and sperm is fertilized, and then that the pregnancy will continue. If not, it's the body's tendency that she has to shed the entire endometrial lining along with the egg that is released in that particular month. So that is the secretory phase when the body prepares, so that the body has to shed out an entire layer during menstruation. And again, it comes back to the Rajasrava Kala, that is again the period phase, that is of the menstruation phase. So now, as you said, is it hormone driven? Exactly. Yes, it is hormone driven. If you see that through Ayurveda, now it may be any hormone, any biochemical or an enzyme or anything. When we look grossly, if you're just at the molecular level, you try to see the structure of it and function of it and how it acts on the body. But the beauty of Ayurveda is, no matter what the enzyme, no matter what the molecule or chemical you are mapping, all these 3 function at the level of Vata, Pitta and Kapha. So even the menstrual cycle, so it is whether the process when the woman is menstruating, that is a peak of Vata Kala, wherein the Apana Vayu work is being done continuously.
Okay.
Like in normal individuals, we want to micturate, we want to defecate during sexual intercourses or during pregnancy when the labor, the Apana Vayu gets triggered a lot and its function is heightened. But in a menstruating woman, irrespective of the other things, for 4 to 5 days, this Apana is continuously in action. So, because of which the menstrual blood is moving out. So, this menstruating time is the Vata Kala. So, the next where the build-up happens until the ovulatory phase, so that is the Kapha Kala. So, this is the time when women is more in her strength, more in her potential, in thinking, creativity, everything excels for a woman in this phase, just after menstruation and up to ovulation. So, she is her best at this time, women. Okay, so this is the Kapha Kala, where the build is happening, the natural energy levels of a woman is high at that time. And then comes the secretory phase, again where it is the Pitta dominant phase, wherein the body, that is Artavam Agdeyam, what Ayurveda calls, that is Artava, that's the menstrual blood itself is Agneya in nature, it is Pitta Pradhana in nature. So the entire phase is again dominant by Pitta dosha, where the body is preparing for the accumulated menstrual blood to let out of the body. So on the gross in modern science, so this is again a play of the hormones, as I said, estrogen and progesterone. So in the initial phases, the first until ovulation, estrogen takes its role, and when the menstruation is setting in, progesterone takes its role. So estrogen drops and then it moves forward.
Dr. Ranjini, I have another question.
Yes.
How did ancient rishis, because now we are talking about hormones and this is the research of the modern science in last 100 years,
Yes.
probably because genes and all, genetic engineering and all, we have seen very off late, maybe 50, 60 years. But our rishis, the Rishimunis, the Charaka or Sushrutas, all the Ayurvedic science, this is thousands of years old. And can we call this some kind of a pattern recognition which they understood, which aligns with the nature and particularly the nature of the women's body? And is this genuine physiology? How do
Yes.
you look at this?
If you take Ayurveda as a medical science, so it does not restrict itself to Pratyaksha, what we call, that is just the gross physical body. So Ayurveda considers the changes happening at the gross level, the upper macro level, and also it deep dives into the micro level. So that is why Ayurveda can deep down, it can move down to the chromosomal level, the genetic level, and we access all of that through the superficial Vata Pitta Kapha, because it understands the connection between the Sukshma and the Stula Sharira. So what Sukshma Sharira is the inner energy body and the Stula Sharira is this macro physical body. So if you take any Bharatiya Shastra for that matter, it will have a connection between these two. It will not keep the Stula and the Sukshma Sharira separate. It will always keep it together. So that is why maybe in the Newtonian model, what we say, it is moving at the atomic level. So we have the modern science also aiming and focusing the human body at the atomic level. It does not deep dive into the subatomic level. But Ayurveda and all the other Shastras, the Yoga Shastra or that which is of the Bharatiya Parampara, it dives into even the subatomic level. So that is why even at those times we were able to deliver the same effects and we were able to map the physiology in the same way, just like how it is done now. With the help of sophisticated tools and laboratories. But this again, almost all the things that are done from Ayurveda, especially the clinical studies. So what people now call as cohort studies was actually done back then. So these are not simple things. It is not transcended from one generation to other generation just orally. These are actually documented observational Siddhantas, what we call in Ayurveda.
So you mean to say there are clinical trials? It was
Yes,
tried
it
on
was
many
done.
people.
It was done and documented. So that is why in Ayurveda we call it as Thapita Siddhanta. So what is a Siddhanta? The definition of Siddhanta goes like, no matter how many number of times you are doing the same thing, you end up with the same conclusion. That itself is modern research, what is now.
So we talk about repeatability in science and modern
and
science.
Sustainability. Yes. So the same thing, that is how. So in Ayurveda, when we go back, so it talks into Gnana Chakshu and Tapas Chakshu. So when they are telling about the Tapas Chakshu, what they say is, it is not just the Divya Drushti. The simile they give is, how, astrologers or astronomical scientists, they map the Chandra Ayana, that is how the moon motion through the space traversed. So that cannot be happened in one day. So you sit today and look at the moon, you cannot map his journey. You need to do it repetitively and continuously. So the same things were applied for medical trials, or how the Siddhantas were mapped in Ayurveda also. So for Rutu chakra also in in a female body, so all of these are mapped with continuous meticulous observations, and how its effect are there on the human body, especially the female body.
So beautiful. So you talked about the connection between the Sukshma Sharira, or what we call the pranic body or aerial body,
Yes.
and that is where the real science of Ayurveda
Yes.
exists.
So
Because when you say Vata, Pitta, Kapha,
yes.
it is not just the air; it is actually the prana.
Yes,
Probably
yes.
that, if I can understand correctly.
Yes, so I can function, see the functions of Vata, I can correlate, or I can access at the physical body also, and at the Sukshma Sharira also, how the same Apana Vayu is doing its activity at the chakra level, or its activity at the uterus level. So it's the Apana Vayu doing two things at simultaneously.
So we are at much advanced level. If I have to
Yes.
say, from the analytical point of view, you said at the atomic level, whatever is the material science, whether you say physics or chemistry or
Yes.
biology,
Yes.
it looks at whatever can be seen, either
Yes.
through naked eye or through the microscope, or
Yes.
you do digital scanners, MRIs, in whichever way you find out.
Yes.
You should be, however small it is, it should be visible through a proper device.
Yes.
And then they will believe in that and we work. But what you are talking about Ayurveda is one step ahead. That is why those Rishi Munis in those days could understand, sense those energies within them.
Yes.
And they understand how it is sensed in the women's body, and what is the correlation between that and the
yes. So when we take, no matter what the particle is, so underlying every particle is in sync and is in connection with a very sophisticated network of energy. So that is the quantum physics, what is being researched upon today.
So hormone is too low level, because
Yes.
you are talking about one estrogen level, but you never know what is causing that estrogen to increase or decrease. So when you know the complete system, like Vata, Pitta, Kapha, because it could be, you will come probably explain more in detail. So these energies are basically what we are eating food, or whatever is our thoughts and things that now I have done many episodes in Ayurveda. Some understanding is there. So it could be because of that intake of Vata, or intake of place, plus also in the environment that we live. For someone living in Bangalore is different. Someone living in New York is completely different, and London is different. So this what we absorb as whatever is happening inside at the energies. So this is a much advanced science. That is why they could actually think of this as a wellness system, as a system of health which can stand for thousands of years without causing much of the disturbance.
Yes, because our ancient scientists, or Rishis, I would like to call them Rishi Munis itself, because they are the repertory of knowledge. They knew that if the nature has to sustain, womanhood should sustain. And if womanhood should sustain, the Rajaswala Paricharya should sustain. That is the act of being, the act of the menstruation as a whole should sustain without any complication. And only when that is there, the core of woman health will move along. And without a woman, nothing goes forward. So that is why there is no other very strict guidelines for other things, but for Rajaswala or for the menstruation there is strict code and contact because of this, because they understood the relation between the outer external environment, the woman body, and the very intricate mechanism and physiology that is driving inside her body.
How is Rutu Chakra the integral part of the woman's physiology? Because today we look at uterus only as a reproductive system. It is meant only, you should worry about it only when you want to have a baby, or related to sexual activities. It is not just that. It's all about life. How do you look at this Rutu Chakra as an integral part of the women physiology?
Okay, so the basic difference between a man's human anatomy and a woman human anatomy is this sacred organ, that is, I would like to call it as a sacred organ, because it drives a lot of things, and it is literally living and making a female body live through the core. So that is the uterus. So why the special organ just for the woman? So it is this organ, or the axis that is controlled from the brain to the uterus, that is what we call as the pituitary ovarian axis, that is the hypothalamic endocrine axis also. So this forms the core of a woman's health. So menstruation as a part of this, the same physiology. Now of late, actually, western medical science is observing menstruation as the fifth key vital point in a health of a woman body, apart from the rest of the four, that is the respiration, then the core body temperature, the circulation, and also the blood pressure. So now they are coming into picture that menstruation plays the next fifth point to maintain the health of a woman. Why? Because, so actually, on a gross aspect, if you take the difference in men's health and women health, women are much less prone to diseases because menstruation is a boon to women. They have this natural mechanism to reset their body every month and to throw out all the unwanted toxins outside. Okay, this is not for a men. So even if you take out the the United Nations ratio, the population ratio, the average lifespan of a man goes somewhere around 67 to 69, but for a woman is 71 to 73. And also, if you take the ratio of how usually the systemic disorders a woman is prone to, she is always in the lesser if she follows Rajaswala Paricharya, or because of just exciting boon that a woman have, they are less prone to diseases. So actually what happens, so now that as you said, you know a lot of Ayurveda terminology. So what we call as panchakarma or the shodhana, so that is used to just remove out all the unwanted dosha imbalances and all the accumulations that has happened over a period of time because of all the unwanted food practices and rest of the other things. But in a woman body, the menstruation is doing the same thing, almost the same thing, without even your knowledge, and it is giving the woman a complete chance. It is just like a reset button that you start fresh with complete vigor, ensuring that the menstruation happens properly. So now what it is happening is that there are a lot of things that is hindering the very core of menstruation, because of which there is an ample increase in the health issues that a woman is facing. Otherwise, menstruation is the key that keeps all her metabolism at pace, all the functions of her digestive system, her circulation, and her mood, how her mood is throughout the month, her emotional status, her sleep, everything is controlled by this menstruation and the 3 days, and how she prepares her body the rest of the other days for a healthy menstruation.
Wonderful. I think this gets a new kind of an idea that this is the center. You talked about 5 points. Rest of the things are common for men also. If you look at circulatory or any of those things, but ideally, I personally feel this should be the number one, because if the health of the monthly cycle is proper, then
Yes.
if you are saying obviously everything else, sleep or all other functions, and for now we feel that men we are missing a lot of things that and I do see whatever I correlate with the statistics, a lot of people who die are of heart attacks. I mean, today it is very prevalent, and especially 40 plus and 35 plus people who go to gym, men are dying early in the morning, basically out of stroke and undiagnosed. There is no previous history of hypertension or anything, but that is not seen with women. So women live longer, like you said, and also they live healthier. And the one important reason is that they have got a complete cleansing system through this monthly 3-4 days what they go through, and we men don't go through, and we don't actually eat, and we don't have other Vata, Pitta or energy body. We have no idea.
Yes,
And
just to take another from the Dharma Shastra point of view also. So when we were doing the Adhyayana of the same, so I just came across that it's a Brahma Deva's vara to a woman, every stree, that Lord Brahma himself has said, all the every stree who practices Rajaswala Dharma, so she is bestowed with good Arogya and Ayushya. She need not do anything else at all. See the importance, how all the health or the likeliness of the womanhood is seen even in our
very beautiful,
other.
very beautiful. Because this is a very central topic. The very reason why you asked us to do this series is that this is very important for the society. Like you said, the mother nature. We talk about the environment environment. There are so many people talking about, green earth and all kind of things. But equal important is the women's health.
Yes.
So,
So that is why even more of the practices also in the spiritual path or in the sadhana, it is
not
tougher for men, not
men.
for the women. For the woman, if she does this, all her sadhana and all her sadhana here, I want to put it in a gross level, at this physical level, is the best health. So a woman's best health is out of a best menstrual practice.
So, Dr. Anjani, you talked about, we just discussed that. So, this menstrual health is very, very important. We talked about, and one important thing is the menstrual blood. What does Ayurveda talk about this? And because we know other circulatory system and all, but what is the importance? You said all the toxins go out. Can you just elaborate on that?
Okay, so according to Ayurveda, Artava is considered to be the Upadhatu of the Rasa Dhatu. So in Ayurveda, we have the Sapta Dhatu, which makes the structure of this body.
What is Arthava?
Artava is the menstrual blood.
Oh, okay.
So in Sanskrit, in Ayurveda, it has many names. Rajas, Artava, Pushpa. That is when in the fertile time it is called as Pushpa, and the woman is called Pushpavati. So various names are there.
Oh, okay.
So in general, Artava is what is used for the menstrual blood that is going out of the body. So this is the Upadhatu of the first dhatu, that is the Rasa Dhatu. So that is why we can. There is a lot of connection between the food patterns and the what happens in the physiology of this entire menstruation. So why so much of discipline before menstruation and during menstruation? Why so many food restrictions? Because it is the direct Upadhatu of the Rasa Dhatu, the first main nourishing dhatu.
So basically that Arthava is what you said, that because if it is Rasad Dhatu, one has to be very careful about what food particularly they eat, and the food has direct impact on this period issues that women come across.
Yes.
Now coming to this Rajaswala Dharma, that
Okay.
what Ayurveda talks about it, what exactly it is, because we normally know in normal practices, daily practices what women do, but we haven't heard of anything like this. Since you said that Arthava is the menstrual blood, that much I understood. What exactly is the Rajaswala Dharma?
Rajaswala Dharma. Okay. So Rajaswala Dharma is composed of two words. So before taking about on Rajaswala, Dharma means the conduct or our duties. So what a woman should do, what is she bound to do or bound not to do when she is menstruating, is what maps the Rajaswala Dharma. So Rajaswala is when a woman is menstruating, she is called as Rajaswala. So a menstruating woman in Sanskritam is called as Rajaswala. And what she should do when she is menstruating is the Dharma, which is the Rajaswala Dharma. So from both the aspects, from the Ayurvedic aspects and from the Dharma Shastra aspect, what she has to do, almost both of them are similar. So the first thing what she has to do is, she has to rest herself completely. Okay, so resting herself without doing unnecessary activity is the first Rajaswala Dharma what she has to do. Next is have a restriction or control upon the quality of food what she is having is the next. Ahara control and the Vidhi Vidana with respect to her eating pattern is the next Rajaswala Dharma. The next Rajaswala Dharma what usually goes upon according to the shloka is, usually we have heard it too, and it has also been called as superstitious, that a Rajaswala Nari should not take bath or she should not enter pools and all of that what is told. So that is also a part of the Rajaswala Dharma. Next is, she should not come in contact with unnecessary substances or unnecessary people. So no unnecessary association
So
is
seclusion
basically,
is required.
yes, she should consider that phase only for herself, is another Rajaswala Dharma. The next is how she has to eat, how she has to move around, whether she has to sleep in the day or whether she has to sleep only in the night. Strenuous activities can be done or not. What kind of food, will it affect her menstrual cycle or not? All of these encompass the Rajaswala Dharma. Whether she has to maintain sexual abstinence during menstruation, what are the thoughts, it's not just physically, what is she acting at her mental level or at her emotional level, what are her thoughts focused upon, whether she's thinking about something good or whether she's thinking something about bad or bad consequences. Even that is a part of Rajaswala Dharma. All of these are very intricately told in as under one title, Rajaswala Dharma. So as a part of that itself, we can see many practices in day-to-day life, that a menstruating lady is made to sit in one place. She is offered food. Yes, she should not cook is another Rajaswala Dharma. So it also has its own repercussions and all of that, which we will be discussing. So in general, all these practices, what is conducive for a woman to do and what is not conducive, if she does, what are the ill effects on her own body, is what compasses the Rajaswala Dharma on the whole.
So basically, it's a rule book, or
Yes.
we can say it's a kind of a guide that
Yes.
you follow these things, and your health will be good,
Yes.
and you will not have too much of issues.
Yes.
You don't follow this is likely to get into serious
Yes.
issues, and it can over a period of time, manifest as many
Yes.
disorders and things like that.
So when we talk about Rajaswala Dharma, so in the same boundary and in the same brackets also come the responsibilities of a man. Without women being healthy, nothing will sustain, as we know. So that is why Rajaswala Dharma makes it a point that every person around the menstruating woman take a pause to support her. Whether it is, whether it is farmers outside, whether it is like you are a Vaidika Brahmana, or whether you're going out somewhere, everybody used to take a pause. Whether suppose if it's a priest who is doing his nitya karma and all of that, even for him the Shastra says that you have to do it in a concise manner. If you have a menstruating wife at house, it doesn't mean that you sit in your puja room for 4 to 5 hours. The Shastra says concise it and see to it that you need to cater her needs. Get back to the kitchen, cook for her, get back to her and do what is comforting for her. So every person in the house took the menstruation time as their pause time so that they could support the menstruating lady. So I feel this was the utmost science, the nature and how our ancestors addressed, because only through this we could support the menstruating lady, and only when we support a menstruating lady she can traverse that phase in utmost health and in the way she has to do. When this does not happen, a lot of health issues prop up. So as we are seeing now, the woman is deviating from the ability to get her periods at all. First of all, even if she is able to attain menarche, she is not able to, the next cycles they are skipping cycles, they are not able to menstruate cyclically. Why we call this Rutu chakra, menstrual cycle, the cycle itself is getting disrupted.
Irregular.
Yes, they are suffering, they are trying hard to get their cycles every month. That is not happening. So somewhere down the lane, in just last 20 years, we have seen women falling down the graph. So I feel Rajaswala Dharma is one of the most celebrated versions in our entire Dharma Shastra, where we are actually respecting the woman in the fullest.
Beautiful, Dr. Anjani. I think this is something very, very interesting because you talked about the familial support, basically father, husband, and the son. What is that they are supposed to do? Not just cook food and in between, but you manage your time properly.
Yes.
Consider that 3 days as very important for your wife or for your mother, and reduce your activities outside. If you have to work very 12 hours in the office, restrict that.
Yes.
Take lighter things, projects there wherever possible to manage, and give more time to your wife, mother, whoever is going through that period, and be helpful, and both physically in terms of whatever food and other things, that and you take care of the house at least 3 days. Don't make her work on any of the things, and that is something very nice, because that also builds bonding. Today with the phone and all that, with the social media, today we don't talk to the people in the family, don't see their face and talk to each other. Always, even when they they're seeing something, they will listen. So this actually something that if properly actually supported, I think it is going to be of great help to the women in the family. And that is the real Women's Day. And what we will say once in a year and send some flowers and chocolates, that is not going to help. What will really help is every month we should be there with them and support them, and make sure that this entire generation, because you said we have lost in the last 2 generations. Now today women is not able to do what a women's body or should do, And because they are finding every stage is difficult,
Difficult, yes.
be it the proper cycles, or be it getting a baby when they want. When they get married, they want a baby, it doesn't happen. And when they want proper health, it will not happen.
Yes.
When they age, they will get into a lot of things. So every stage of women life there are problems. So
Yes.
this will help. Only one is that women has to understand this. At the same time, the entire family should
Yes.
understand and
Yes.
support. Thank you so much. And this has been exclusively, I mean, a lot of information today to understand the importance of the women's health. And I have a lot of questions in the next episodes,
Yes.
probably a lot more controversial, and
Yes.
people have a lot of objections, particularly the women,
Yes.
because sitting 3 days separately, not going to the temple, not touching the tulsi plant, they are looked down as some separate species. And
Yes.
why are you doing this untouchability?
Yes.
Like,
Yes, I understand.
so people have a lot of questions regarding that, and why should we follow, and all such things. And today, equality, we are always, men are equal to women. In no way we are inferior. So why should we only practice? Let them also sit. Whatever things that naturally it comes for any person in today's kind of modern world, where everybody has equal opportunities. And I will come back to you with all those questions, probably a tougher episode. I'm sure you have answers for all that, but from our side, it's a tougher episode in the next one. And thank you so much, Dr. Vanshti.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you.
If you take away one thing from today, let it be this: the menstrual cycle is not a monthly inconvenience you manage with painkillers. It is a diagnostic report your body writes in a language most women were never taught to read. And when you don't read the report, you miss the warning signs month after month, year after year, until one day the diagnosis has a name: PCOS, endometriosis, infertility. But knowing what Rutu Chakra is the only beginning. The real question is, what do you do with that knowledge? What did our ancestors prescribe, and why? Next Wednesday, we open the most explosive chapter of this science. Why, for 3 days every month, were menstruating women told, don't bath, don't enter the kitchen, don't touch sacred plants, don't go to the temple? Is this the world's oldest misogyny, or is it the most sophisticated women's health protocol ever written? Remember, every Wednesday is Women's Health Day on Vedic Wellness. Rutu Chakra continues next Wednesday, same time, same place. Be here. Hit subscribe, hit the bell, and share this with one woman who needs to hear it. See you next Wednesday. Hari Om.